Hey guys, today we'll be drawing the seven gods of... Today we'll be drawing one of the members of the seven gods of fortune. The seven gods of fortune is a group from a bunch of resources from Asia, but the idea of the group being together came from Japan. Every day this week I'm going to drop a video drawing one of the seven gods. Today's will be Fukurokuju. And YouTube, no, I didn't just curse. Fukurokuju is known for, having an extremely, when I say extremely, I mean extremely long forehead. So he is the god of longevity. His head, trust me, it took me a long time to figure this out, is filled with longevity. It took me around 2 hours to figure this out, and there's only one resource which I found it from. I forgot which resource it is, but I guess you guys take your own 2 hours to figure this one out because I'm not 100% sure if it's true. But from the research that I did, I heard that his forehead is filled with longevity. He is not a god of death, quite the opposite. I've mentioned a lot before, he's a god of longevity. But he does carry around a staff that carries a scroll that says people's names, when and how they're gonna die, right? And I know this sounds kind of dark, but you know, don't worry though, because there's still a lot of light to this character. He said something once like a great man, somebody who can look upon a chessboard and say nothing about it. Like, oh, you should have done this, or oh, you should have done that. They just say nothing, right? He is the patron god of chess players and chess. There's actually a myth where a young man went by two old men playing chess. One of them was a normal dude, and then the other was Fukurokuju, right? And he knows how this man's beard was constantly growing, right? And what happened was, he was very entertained watching this until he was like, well, I'm kind of hungry, I gotta go home. But then Fukurokuju was like, no, Shiri, and gave him a bowl full of food, right? So the dude ate the food, and then they kept on watching until it was the end of the day. And then he was like, well, it's late, I'm gonna go home. And then they were like, okay. So the young man went home. And what happened was that he knows that his home wasn't there, because the food that Fukurokuju gave him contained longevity, and he was watching this the game play for 200 years. And like, he didn't even realize, because he gave him longevity inside the food. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Fukurokuju is actually when the two manifestations are the same god, right? The other one is also a longevity god named Jurojin. His video is coming later on this week. Anyways, what's cool about this is that it's literally almost like two takes on the same god, if you will. So they're both longevity gods. They're two different gods that they're the same dude. It's kind of confusing, but Jurojin is very, very, very much different than Fukurokuju. Fukurokuju, what else there to be said about him? He's one of the only gods that can bring people back from the dead. So that's cool, but kind of creepy. Anyways, although the seven gods of fortune mostly came from Hindu and Chinese influences for the ideas of the gods, they are actually Japanese gods. I know that sounds confusing, but the idea of them being put together as a group came from Japan. Although in China there is a separate group, we won't focus on them on today's episode, but there's three gods. Again, not much is known about them, but still kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Right now you can see me drawing the staff with a scroll that I mentioned earlier. Has the names of all the, people how they're gonna die and when they're gonna die. But yeah, right now I'm drawing the neck and so on. Alright, when I say he has a long forehead, you guys are about to see what I mean by that. I'm drawing the beard right now, just closing up the neck. But you're gonna see what I mean. You're gonna see what I mean. If you think that's long, it gets longer than that, trust me. I decided that instead of doing it a square one, I would do it more like a circle head. Just because I felt like it suited him more. Also because it looks more like an actual forehead, I guess you could say, although he doesn't have a realistic forehead. That's one of his ears right there. And by the way, there's a lot of people here who are rather familiar in the 7 Gods of Fortune. I'm not gonna say who, but there's one guy specifically that people get mixed up with somebody else. I'm not gonna say who it is, but he's literally my favorite character out of all 7 gods. But yeah. Finishing up the beard a bit, you know what I'm saying? Just gotta do that. Do that. I hate it when the eraser does this, because now you gotta fill up the rest of the beard. And it's like, I just did it. Come on. Come on, eraser, really. Closing up the beard. And adding, erasing. By the way, this is a voiceover, so I'm not actually saying this while drawing. So I'll say that real quickly. Those eraser marks. Making the mustache from the beard, because he has a really long beard to the point where it's kind of like a long mustache too. So, yeah. Here, I decided to draw a fist, which took me a while to do. Because first it came out like a weird, gross, tiny fist. And then it came out like way too huge of a fist. And then it came out, tiny fist. And you get the idea. I kept mixing up with a fist. Well, actually, no, this fist came out actually tinier. Sorry, I don't remember, guys. Again, it's a voiceover. I'm simply talking over the video. Fukurokuju is, for a fact, one of the most interesting gods in any folklore / mythology. If you're wondering, yes, there's more than simply Greek mythology. This is, like I said earlier, a mixture of a few different mythologies, but the idea of these gods together, like I said billions of times in this video, came from, say it with me, Japan. Why were the fists I was drawing coming out so tiny? Like, why? It was weird. Like, I wouldn't mind drawing fists that tiny if the other hand didn't already come out like super big. So, you get the idea. Here's where it started to start coming out normal. But still, the fist wasn't 100%. Know what I'm saying? And again, with those eraser marks on the parts that's perfectly normal, it's freaking annoying. And we have reached 10 minutes in this video. Let's go. So, this part right here was, for a fact, one of the most challenging parts, drawing the hand. It's actually easy for me usually to draw hands more than usual. I don't know why it was so hard this time, but it was. So, yeah. By the way, if we artists use tricks, like after we're done doing something, we want to make something a bit longer, a bit shorter, and then we use a thing that makes it a bit longer and a bit shorter. That's actually a very normal thing that happens, cause it's pretty much the same drawing. You gotta, extend it a bit. And this is when the actual hand that came out perfectly fine. I just want to say that. I forgot to say that. But yeah. So currently it is 8:23. Don't know. Just felt like saying this at the time of voicing over this. Probably gonna be posted at a different time. But right now we are drawing his nose. One of my favorite noses styles to draw. To draw his eyebrows. Which I like drawing eyebrows too. I like drawing the face. The face is one of my favorite parts of drawing. Because, it's a face. That sounded weird. this is almost like a podcast. This is not scripted whatsoever. Because, I don't know, just didn't feel like it this time. Felt like you guys should, hear me straight off the bat. Speaking straight off the bat. But you see that line right there? That is pretty much to move things or to elongate or shorten things. You're gonna see what I mean by that. Give it a second. Wait, give it a second. Any second now. I kept messing up at this part because we were in the car and while I was drawing this, I'm also not even there. I guess you could also call this a podcast if you would. Look what I mean. See, you can move things around like that. And then, you just gotta erase things. Inking is for a fact one of my favorite parts of it. Putting the ink in, coloring, inking. Inking, is it inking? I think inking is the part where you make it, you redo the outline. But I've always called inking the coloring part. I don't remember, guys. I don't know things by name. I just know how to do things. So, yeah. I'm also gonna make his foot a bit longer because Fukurokuju is supposed to be short, but he's not supposed to be that short. That would go to somebody else. Daikokoten, his video is coming again this week as well. Everybody's video is coming out this week. We're gonna elongate the legs a bit just to give more that pizzazz, because we don't wanna make him too short either because he may be short, but he may not be, he's not the shortest one out of 7 gods of fortune. You know what I'm saying? By the way, there's no problem with going back and fixing your drawings because without that, then you want to prove if you don't fix your mistakes, you don't improve. Here I'm making his robe. So I felt like he needed a robe. So there's a lot of detail put into this part because there was, when I was doing the robe, because I put little creases in it, like a lot of little creases. Same thing with putting the wood marks on the staff, which I actually do in a second. So that was the beginning. And I was like, you know what? No, that's bad, you know what I mean? So I did with that, I made I don't know what they're called, but the stripe parts, the golden stripe parts? I made some of those. You know what I mean? And well, after that, I did something, which was add a bit more detail, because I was like, you know what? Why not? So I went ahead to the color wheel and I edited this to be his flesh tone. So I went ahead and, colored in his flesh tone, chunk by chunk. And don't worry, it's not gonna be this flat. I do some shading later. So right here, we decided to, color in his eyebrows and his beard. So we went ahead to gray since this dude's pretty old. So we went ahead and colored in his eyebrows and then his beard. So right here, we decided to add some creases for the clothing to give him more of an effect. I did kind of create this style from the top of my head. Even though it is cartoony, I was like, you know what, it has to look like clothing. So this style was originally based off another style, but then started slowly morphing until it was like a fresh new style that had nothing to do with the previous one. And I like my animation style. I don't know if it's an official style or not, but if it's not, then just call it the studio's art style. You know what I'm saying? So, yee. And just kind of finish up, I was just finishing up the creases here, give it that clothing effect, like I said. You know what I'm saying? So all the creases are all done. So what we're gonna do real quickly, go to the color wheel and choose the colors for the robe thingies on top of the robe. They usually have writing on them. I didn't add any writing on them because I'm not that good with Japanese or Mandarin or any of that stuff. But, you know, I added those there because it looks nice. And I added those to the scroll as well with all the names in it. So, yeah. So right now we're actually gonna go ahead and add the wood texture to the, you know, stuff. I said we're going to, like, if I about to do it, although this is a voiceover. But I don't know, I just have the feeling like, I just want to give you the feeling like, if, you know, we're doing the project all together with you guys. So, you know, you as the viewers feel part of this too, you know what I mean? So, writing the texture for the wood, I eventually go over it because when I add the wood color to it, the little creases kind of disappear. It's weird. So I have to go over it again. But yeah, it's actually really cool to do. It's fun actually. And I thought it would take more time, but no, I guess not. So to wrap up quickly, what we do here is that we technically go ahead and pretty much try filling up the little blanks because the wood color pretty much made it look like it's transparent. I didn't like that because I was like, why? Just why? Anyways, yeah, I'm just filling up these pieces right here, as you can clearly see. So right here, what we're doing is, like I said earlier, we're going over the pieces again to, you know, complete the look and not have it look weird and transparent. It didn't come out 100%, but it did come out actually pretty good, better than it would have been if it looked transparent and weird. And we just pretty much go over the little creases for a while, and, you know. Comment down below, guys. What do you guys like better? Sorry for the sound effects in the background. That is unintentional. But what do you guys like better? Digital art or traditional art? I personally like both. I can't decide. But you guys decide in a friendly way because I don't want any arguments in the comments. I see a lot of YouTubers with arguments in the comments now. I don't want that. But comment down below what you guys think is better, traditional or digital art. So what we do here is simply, well, what we do is that we put the color gray. But then I was like, no, I don't like how the color looks. It looks a little too serious. So what I decided to do was, instead of gray, we should have gone with just a dark blue. A nice, good quality dark blue. And I lowered Fukurokuju a bit because I was like, you shouldn't have that extra space. We also elongated his head just because I felt like it. Again, sorry for the noise in the background. I am recording and the video would take forever if I were to show the entire process. But real quickly, here is how Fukurokuju came out. I think the drawing came out pretty amazing, especially for my first drawing video. I mean, I've drawn millions of times before, but for my first video drawing, I think this is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos this week with more videos of 7 Gods of Fortune. And of course, like, subscribe, share, comment down below what you thought about it, and most importantly, stay optimistic. See you later.